way. Maybe it's further up the road? I can't believe it. It's gone. We could have just passed it. Don't tell me her car is gone. Please don't tell me that. We weren't even away that long. How can it be gone? We stare at the empty space that once... I love the tumbleweed in the back. We stare at the empty space that once housed a certain ugly green car. I look in every conceivable direction, but there's nothing. Nothing but an ocean of sand and a never-ending stretch of road. Was it towed? No, not out here. Not this quick. Where the hell did it go? Yeah, this is kinda weird, isn't it? Almost like it's according to your plan, huh, Marina? Marina's hands rest against her cheeks as she looks on with only mild confusion, like she's trying to solve a small mystery. Your car is missing! That's more than a little weird! Well, it's actually my big brother's car. He lent it to me when he left for college. Oh, well, that makes everything better then. Really? No! I let out a heavy sigh and pressed my fingers to my temple, attempting to massage away the stress and irritation. It feels like she always does that. It's like she always has a headache or a migraine or something. It's like, oh my god, these stupid people. Calm down, and she just massages her temples. Or temple, rather. You only have one. Well, you have two sides, but it's called one temple, right? It was probably stolen. We'll need to call the police. You have a phone, right? I do, but... Her voice trails off a cliff. What she said earlier echoes in my head. That's right. You said it was dead, and her wallet was in the car too, right? And I'm guessing you left it in your car? Yeah. Well, that's just great. Don't you have one? Nope, never needed one. Afraid no one would call you? Oh, girl, you're coming dangerously close to the truth. That hurts, okay? Not quite. I shield my eyes and look up at the dry sky. Its color has shifted to a glowing orange as sunset begins to settle over the distant valley peaks. It's going to get dark pretty soon. Don't worry, Amber. I would call you. Yeah, you would never get my number in the first place. I can't just leave her. Even if she did have her phone, it would take forever before anyone could get out here. She'd go from burning up in the heat to freezing out in the cold within a few hours. Plus, if there are people around who would steal cars, then there's no telling who else is out here. I can already see how this all would go down. She would be huddled up on the side of the road, trying to keep warm. A pack of coyotes would be howling all around her, closing in. Then, from down the road, a starved creep would pull up in a trashy old pickup truck, open his door for her, and... Oh god! Hey, where are you from, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, I'm from Carlsbad. She pauses for a moment. Or at least, kinda close to it. It's a little out of the way. Carlsbad? You're from California? I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. No, silly. Carlsbad, New Mexico. Right. Had me going there for a second. How far is that? Maybe 2 hours from here? Wow, you didn't get very far at all, did you? Marina lowers her head in shame. I never really seem to... This is just like her life summed up. This one moment, her alone out here in the desert. Though, I'm not really one to talk. I've been on the road less than a day. Would have gotten further if traffic on the I-40 wasn't such a pain in the butt, or if I didn't pick up Marina. Hey, listen, you don't live too far away. If you want, I can probably give you a lift back home. I prep myself for an explosion of thankful energy and excitement. But there isn't one. Instead, she continues to stare at the ground, her hands now balled up in a fist as she fidgets ever so slightly. Something wrong? She lifts her gaze from the ground and looks me straight in the eyes, drawing a deep, long breath. Remember the treasure we were talking about at the store? Yeah? I know it's a lot to ask, and you've already helped me out so much already. But do you think you could take me the first place the treasure is? Huh? She wants to keep going? Even after this entire disaster? The treasure! Could you at least take me to the first? I heard you the first time. It's just... you don't even know if this thing is real, but you've dropped everything to go look for it. And now you're asking me, someone who you've just met out in the middle of the desert, to take you to it. Even though you don't know if it's real, and you just had your card stolen. Did I catch all that? Uh-huh. Shameless. I'm at a loss for words. How do I even respond to that? Well, with a simple yes or no, I guess? I try to recollect my thoughts, but only one word comes to mind. Why? Marina shrugs. Nothing more than that. She just shrugs. I take a look at her. A good look. Her wavy hair has been dried out by the hot desert air. Her face is red and drenched in sweat, probably close to melting off her makeup. Even her nice clothes are a little ruffled. But despite all that, this cute, peppy girl wants to keep pressing on, even when most people would have just called it quits after the car broke down. Even out here, all by herself. For all I know, she could be some weirdo out to mug me, and this is all some elaborate scheme. Exactly what I was thinking. But she wants my help. My help. It's been a while since anyone has needed that. It's like an honor, you know? Do I deserve that? Probably not. But she's still asking. Why should I say no? I don't have to be in California for another few weeks. And isn't that why I'm taking this trip? To see the sights. For him. She's a little excitable, and even more naive. But maybe I need a little bit of that. It's a lot better than just being out here all by myself with nothing but the ghosts of my memories to keep me company, even if it's just for a little while. Why the hell not? Hop in. For real? Yeah, for real. But only until the first location. After that, the breath is forced out of me by the sharp impact of Marina tackling my stomach. A warm but damp sensation wraps itself tightly around me as dead weight snuggles up against my chest. Thank you. What are you doing? I'm hugging you, silly. My cheeks grow warmer with each passing second. I try to wiggle my way out, but she stays latched on, her grip getting tighter and tighter. Marina, please, you're all sweaty. Sorry, I'm just super happy. She unlatches herself, letting me clear my throat and recollect myself. Anyway, let's get inside. I'm burning up out here. Clamber back inside the motorhome, leaving the dry hellishness behind. I turn the ignition and let the AC blast away the RV's stuffiness, letting out breaths of sweet relief. Marina and I collapse back into our seats. Alright, so where's the first piece of the treasure? Well... You have no idea, do you? That's not true. The news said a part of it was somewhere here in New Mexico. Probably. Wow, thank you. Good job. You narrowed it down to an entire state. I'm not surprised at all. Should have seen this coming. You have the journal? Yeah. She hands the cheap paperback book to me. The cover feels like it could fall apart at the turn of a page. The whole thing is fitting of its rustic design. I slide my thumb across the edges and flip through the pages. Thick forewords and passages commenting on the journal's historical significance skip past my eyes. Yeah, who the fuck reads that? Most long enough to be their own book. Finally, a photocopied picture of one of the original entries appears, preserving the faded cursive lettering. The entire thing printed on the next page over. Crusting brown stains and wrinkles engraved the photo. Some of the writing had been scratched out too, like someone had made mistakes and couldn't erase them. I hate to admit it, but for something that's probably a sham, the thing looks pretty authentic. With bounty and satisfaction in hand, I am now homeward bound, the perilous journey forthcoming. Through my unrivaled intellect and unmatched ambition, I have succeeded in accomplishing what many believed would no longer prove profitable. Of course, this only comes as a surprise to those around me, not myself. I had traveled this way on the trail, with many others from the Missouri Territory, but as my typical characteristic success grew, I could sense the envious stares amongst my so-called peers. The danger eventually became so great that I wished to flee, but my companions left before I woke. For what reason, you may ask? I do not know. It is with this in mind that I have taken it upon myself to leave a note for one of my fellow prospectors and to borrow his stead, so that I may one day return to settle with my family. But if this journey has taught me anything thus far, it is that jealous, what? Yeah, I'm not reading all this crap. Where should I actually start? Let's see. If you left California, lived in Missouri, and supposedly hit something in New Mexico like Marina said, then what we're looking for is likely a later entry. Ah, here we are. Alas, I have reached the final point of divisions in my travel. During my stay among the ruined sanctuary, the rogue native Lamasi had informed me of a landmark that was rich in the mythos of his people. Considered sacred, he said that the chance of the gold being discovered would be very slim. He referred to it as a winged rock, a monument erected towards the sky. After my previous detour, I have finally arrived. It is with much disbelief, I must say. My friend Lamasi was right. It is not just a monument erected towards the sky. It is a mountain. Almost as if the Lord himself had struck up the earth among the sand. It is guarded by trails of rocks around it, all branching from the mother rock. On this journey, I have encountered many different sights, dangers, and yes, even an occasional friend. As I look upon the mountain before me, I am reminded once more that there are things bigger and greater than I. Although I am not yet rid of this cough, my soul has been humbled and removed the fatigue. I can think of no better place to store the last of my gold, and I anxiously await the day I return. You can read any previously seen entries at any point by clicking the journal button in the bottom right, or by pressing the J key. Got it? What does it say? The gist of it is that it's near a big rock and a bunch of little rocks. That should narrow it down, right? Well, kind of. Yeah, to the entire state of New Mexico. Exactly, Amber. Marina gasps and lunges towards the journal, the muscles in her neck tensed and eyes wide with panic. That can't be the only thing he mentioned. There has to be more. I raise the journal high above me so that she can't reach it, using my hand as a blockade against her head as she desperately tries to grasp for it. It reminds me of, like, you know, a tall guy trying to bully a little guy, but just holding his head or his hand on their head and then trying to, like, you know, slash all the way around them, like punch, but they can't even reach him because they're so little. Just bullying the little guys. Sheesh, relax for a second. I actually have a pretty good idea of where it might be. She settles down, still stiff with anxiety, nibbling on the tip of her thumb. I lower the book down and read over the entry one more time, just to make sure. There's a part where he calls it a winged rock. Assuming my years of reading travel guides and brochures weren't totally useless, then I'm pretty sure that's a loose translation of what the Navajo used to call shiprock. Really? She spent years reading travel guides and brochures? Who even does that? There's a ship out in the desert? Wow! I peer over the journal. Marina's imagination is going bonkers. Her eyes alight as she tries to wrap her head around such a novelty even existing. How long have you lived in New Mexico? Marina swells up with pride, only to deflate like a balloon before speaking, instead choosing to blow a misplaced strand of hair out of the way. All my life. I sigh and slam the journal shut. Well, at least we know what to expect from her. Pretty much nothing, as far as, you know, contributing towards finding the gold and the treasures. Well, one treasure. After one treasure, we're gone, right, Amber? Right? It's a small mountain near the border of New Mexico and Utah that's vaguely shaped like a ship. Oh, okay. That makes way more sense. I'm surprised you haven't heard of it. The thing's a landmark. Yeah. But hey, at least I know now. Shrugging, I put away the journal. Wait, you put it away and away again? I put away the journal away and smirk. Misplaced as it might be, her cheeriness is a good mix-up from the norm. Do you think the treasure might be there? Dunno, but it's worth a shot. We don't have anything else to go on. Sure you don't want me to take you home? Marina hesitates for a moment, turning to the windshield as if to dodge the question with her eyes. No, I think I want to do this. I feel like, there's definitely like a bigger reason why Marina is so set on doing this, right? She seems very determined. And the theory that I've come up with is probably not right, but it's the one that I've come up with, is that she's been kicked out of her house by her family, and they're like, "You're not allowed to come back unless you find us the treasure. Now scram, get on out of here." Like, I don't know, she just seems really sad whenever we're talking about her home and stuff like that, and she's determined to find this treasure. So I feel like there's at least a connection between, you know, her being sad whenever we're talking about her home, and about this treasure. Alright then. I put the car in drive and look ahead. The sun has set, the blue shade of dusk rising up to take its place. I press down on the gas. Marina turns to me and smiles. Alright, let's hit the road. I love like the blank stare they both have in their eyes when they're sitting next to each other. The sun has long since set and given way to darkness. Only my headlights remain, illuminating the road and silhouetting the small rock formations around us. I've been alternating between the old tapes and new ones, immediately throwing on the old tape after finishing a new one, and vice versa. I haven't had any complaints from Marina. She's been sitting at my side the entire time, softly humming off-key to the music. She seems to be the type to just accept things as they are, like with her car being stolen, or that treasure, especially that treasure. And to make it worse, it's not just her. Apparently it's some phenomenon now. Goes to show how much I keep up with current events. But the whole thing smells like a scam. Exactly, because I feel like the plan of the person that hid the gold, right? Back then, in a previous video, I didn't really think too much about it, but I guess if it is a lot, a big amount of gold, it's kind of both hard to carry with you, as well as, to conceal it while you're carrying with you. Because let's say you don't have a car, let's say you don't have a big bag or anything like that. How are you gonna carry a lot of gold with you? It is pretty hard to, you're not just gonna walk with 2 arms full of gold to your home. That's asking to get captured, robbed, stolen from. So yeah, that part kind of makes sense for me, that he hid it to then plan to return to it later. That makes sense to me, right? But he died before then, and then within his journal people found it and they sold it, and I just feel like this entire company I mean, it seems kind of obvious, but this entire company that like wrote this book about this whole treasure, that is like the biggest scam, right? Because they just took advantage of the situation. They don't even know if the treasure exists or gold exists. They don't even care. That's just like, all right, let's just make a book about it. Some people will be stupid enough to actually buy this and actually fall for it and perhaps even look for it, you know? They just created a whole book and story around this one journal of this guy, with which they didn't even confirm whether the gold and everything in the treasure is true. So, yeah, that part definitely smells like a scam to me too. But you never know, the gold could still be there. But it's just, the biggest thing is that this just shows how gullible some people actually are. They just hear it on the news, and Marina now just suddenly has set on a trip to actually go find this gold. Like, you only just saw it on the fucking news. And now she's changing her entire life, or at least setting on a life travel. I mean, I guess it's also, you know, it speaks to her spontaneous side, but I guess maybe that's why I can't relate to that, because I'm not really that spontaneous, especially about this sort of thing, when it sounds skeptical. But it's something to admire as well, I guess. I bet somewhere all the big shots from the publishing house are gathered up in a corporate tower, laughing at the idiots they ripped off with that book. Exactly. I feel like me and Amber, we think pretty alike. Christ. I'm even starting to sound like him. The music starts to turn to static before the cassette is silenced by a loud click. I eject it and reach for his old tape again. Marina notices, taking the opportunity to break the long-held silence. So, do you like music a lot? Yeah, I guess. I figured. You've been playing those tapes this entire time. It was totally not a cover-up so that you wouldn't talk, Marina. She picks up one of the tapes on the center console and inspects it, going as far as to poke her pinky through one of the holes. Even I tried that. I put my pinky in it and I tried to turn it so that that's basically the equivalent of fast-forwarding the tape. Though I'm not sure what you'd call this type of music. Yeah, I've just been playing whatever. Mostly jazz fusion and alt country. Threw some new age crap in there for good measure. Most of these mixtapes I made when I was little. Cool. Any names I'd recognize? She peeks at me through the holes of the cassette, wearing a wide, genuine smile. Probably not. Aw, come on! Try me! Why not? Maybe I'm not giving her enough credit. You know, Gabriel, Grutu, Weapon Report, Donovan, Metheny, I don't know any of those. Marina gives sage-like nods and grunts of understanding as I list off the names. She's like, I haven't heard of any of those names before, but it sounds interesting. You have no idea who any of them are, do you? Not a clue. That's what I thought. Sorry, I usually just listen to whatever's on the radio. Oh my god. I mean, I used to listen to a lot of radio too when I was little actually, but you know, since the internet where you can just, where music is at the click of a mouse button, just that far away or close or near you, I don't fucking know what I'm saying right now, but music is really easy to get, right? That's the point that I'm trying to make. So I really don't feel like there's need for a radio unless you don't have access to a PC or you're like inside a car or, you know, traveling or something like that. But I feel like radio is definitely more of a something that a lot of older people still listen to, but the new age people, nah, we not. I don't listen to radio anymore. Does anybody here listen to radio? Probably not, right? I crack a slight smile. It's alright. I could see how it might be hard to get into. My grabs used to call it road trip music. I still think it's nice though. It's really making you really happy. You think so? She taps her fingers gently against my cheek. I pull away a little, but I let her do it anyway. Yeah, why else would you be smiling? I've never really thought of whether it made me happy before, but I do know it made him happy, so that's good enough for me. So at first, the person that I thought she was referring to was actually her father or something, but apparently it's her grandfather, because I think he's dead, That's sort of what she seems to hint at, although she hasn't really said it specifically. But she's like, whenever she's thinking back at him, it's like in this nostalgic way almost, where it's like, oh, he's gone, but it's still a fond person to her. So she's thinking back on it, looking back at his memories, what he would do, blah blah blah, with fondness. And a little bit of sadness, I can definitely feel that too. That's actually why I'm going to California. For a music festival. For real? Where? Not far from Palm Springs. Palm Springs? Like the actual Palm Springs? Don't know if there are any other Palm Springs in California, but yeah, they do it every year for a few weekends. I went to my first concert a little ago, before I graduated. I actually went last week during the weekend as well to like my first concert ever, and I kind of fucked up the experience for myself by not being. I was both very tired, my back was hurting, so I was actually sitting the entire time, and it was a concert of it was at the convention that I was at, right? So people actually, the people that knew that artist were like very, very excited to see them. I just kind of tagged along with the people that I went with because I thought in a concert that's cool, but I didn't really know the artist. So I went in there just thinking like, alright, this is probably gonna be alright, it's gonna be fun. And I'm not the hardcore fan that all the other people are. So, everybody else is just like really excited, and then when they finally came on stage, everybody was standing, and I'm just sitting there like, wait, fuck, am I supposed to stand now too? God damn it, but my back hurts. So I just ended up sitting the entire concert and peeked through all, like, at least there was a convenient gap between, the rows in front of me from where the people were standing, that I could look at the giant screen at least. So I got to experience the concert, but it wasn't the most pleasant experience, but it's for a few reasons. I mean, if I actually went to a concert of a artist that I was familiar with and knew the music of and liked the music of in the first place, then I probably would have been one of those people that was standing in the first place. But yeah, it was still fun nonetheless. She rests her head against the window and stares at the road ahead, her smile fading but still there. It was so much fun. An entire weekend of that sounds super awesome. Nah, it ain't that cool. Marina flings her head away from the window and turns to me. Now she's staring at me like I'm crazy. How could you even say that? It's like the coolest thing ever. I wouldn't even be able to wait. I want to see all the bands. Sheesh, relax. It's not like I'm taking it for granted. It's just that there's only one group I know I want to see so far. That's right. His favorite group. Just one? Ooh, which one is it? Simon and Garfunkel? He was so excited when he got the tickets. Just one that I'm excited for. I won't watch a bunch though. Releasing a long sigh, Marina eases back into her seat. Oh, good. I was afraid you were going to head on home after you saw your group. You crazy? I'd like to at least have a little bit of fun before worrying about all the expenses I gotta deal with. Expenses? Damn it, uh-oh, you let something slip there. It's nothing. She gasps. Are you in debt? Is it college loans? My brother said those are not fun to deal with at all. Got too comfortable. Should've just kept my trap shut. Or did you just spend too much on your ticket? Without warning, I swerve off the side of the road and onto the rocky sand, cutting Marina off and nearly giving her a heart attack. Alright, time to get the fuck out, Marina. That's kind of what they do, Isn't that what they do in movies and whatnot? When they're in the car and the person is talking too much and they just, swerve on the side of the road. They just stop there and it's like, alright, it's time for you to get out of my car. Go on, scram, get the hell out. Marina shoots me a worried glance, her face still pale. Oh my god, what was that? Are you okay? I pinch the bridge of my nose and my elbows on the wheel. Amber? I've been driving all day. I'm just a little tired. Where are we? A little outside Albuquerque, so we aren't too far now. We'll sleep here tonight and drive to Shiprock first thing in the morning. Killing the ignition, I climb out of my seat and into the living quarters. Marina trails behind me. I yank open the bedroom's Velcro latched cupboards. Inside is a folded stack with a blanket, sheet, pillow, and my old gym clothes from school. I scoop them up and toss them to Marina. She scrambles to catch it, desperately balancing them as they lean out of her arms. Sorry about the clothes. I don't have any actual pajamas. You can sleep on the couch. It folds out into a bed. Oh, okay. Alright then. See you in the morning. And with that, I step into the back room and slam the sliding door before collapsing onto the oversized bed. Even in the darkness, I can make out the pictures hanging on the wall. Once upon a time, they were generic scenic pieces, and now they're photos. Photos of me and Gramps. Aww. My favorite is the one of us in front of a museum for music. Rock and roll to be specific. I was just a little pipsqueak back then, holding up an autographed vinyl sleeve that was about the size of my head. He was by my side, squatting down and ruffling my hair as I gave the biggest smile I could, with my missing teeth. I let out a sigh and fixate on the ceiling skylight, a small sliver of the moonlight shining through. It feels like an eternity since I've last laid down in this bed. I remember it felt like being hugged by a cloud. Now it feels like concrete. Tiny creaks sound from the room next door, accompanied by Marina's little squeaks of determination as she struggles with the fold-out bed, until finally I hear a loud thud. Ah! I can't help but smirk a little. I should have warned her that it was heavy. The room over goes silent. I hope it didn't crush her. Luckily, I soon hear footsteps tiptoeing across the carpet, then onto the bathroom tile. They stop just outside my door. Hey, are you awake? Her voice is weak, barely above a whisper. It's almost impossible to hear as it's muffled through the door. I know I've said it a lot already, but I really mean it. Thanks, Amber. Good night. I continue to stay silent. In the dark, the ceiling looks like it's constantly changing in size and dimension, sometimes getting bigger and further away, other times getting closer and smaller. I look down. Through the crack under the door, I can see her shadow turning around to leave. The words slip out of my mouth before she can even take her first step. Night, kiddo.